Welcome to episode number 248 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We are recording live on YouTube on November 11, 2018. A lot of things to talk about this week, as usual, including hashtag NeverForget, movie games, Clue Train 2, scatological Bill Gates, unsend, poop physics, abusive ads, the secret life of non-player characters, Google My Business updates, no pass for Movie Pass, AI anchors, persistent baby bear, and much, much more. And BL kicks it off with the best story of the week. As usual, BL, what was that story?
Well, right now it's Veterans Day, and on Twitter, the hashtag NeverForget is trending. And there's a really good reason for that I'm going to try and get through without crying, although, it might happen. So the reason that NeverForget is trending is because of Saturday Night Live last night, where Pete Davidson apologized to Dan Crenshaw, the former Navy SEAL and newly elected representative, who he mocked last week in a really widely derided Weekend Update segment. So in a surprise, Pete Davidson came on to apologize, and all of a sudden Crenshaw appeared next to him. Davidson offered his apology. He said, "I mean this from the bottom of my heart. It was a poor choice of words. The man is a war hero, and he deserves all the respect in the world. And if any good came of this, maybe it's for one day the left and the right finally came together to agree on something, that I'm a dick." And Davidson thanked Crenshaw for coming, and Crenshaw said, "Well, thank you for making a Republican look good." And then Crenshaw took some pot shots at Davidson, which, he said, my favorite was, "He looks like if the meth from Breaking Bad was a person." Then he got in a couple other good singers, and then he got serious. And Crenshaw said, and this is the part I'm going to try and get through, "There's a lot of lessons to learn here, not just that left and right can still agree on some things, but also this. Americans can forgive one another." This is getting hard. "We can remember what brings us together as a country and still see the good in each other." Sorry. This is Veterans Day weekend, which means it's a good time for every American to connect with a veteran. Maybe say thanks for your service, but I would actually encourage you to say something else. Tell a veteran, never forget. When you say never forget to a veteran, you're implying that as an American, you are in it with them. Hold on. Not separated by some imaginary barrier between civilians and veterans, but connected together as a grateful fellow American who will never forget the sacrifices made by veterans past and present, and never forget those we lost on 9/11, like Pete's father. So I'll just say, Pete, never forget. And Pete said, "Never forget." And they shook hands. And then Davidson turned to the audience and shouted, "And that's from both of us."
Yeah, during dark times, the small acts of kindness loom large, right? I go to a lot of Vikings games this season, and I'm always kind of disturbed by the militarism at Vikings game. We trot out the flag, and it all seems so very superficial because as a society, most of us are not involved in military life at all. There are people who are sent off to fight our wars, and our society doesn't feel it. Our society doesn't really recognize the gravity of the situation. So this is
here's a day when it's the thing to do,
Yeah. Well, no transition here, but this is a great story from Barry Levin at Marketing Land, who talks about National Cinemedia. It's a company that does cinema advertising, and they have released their first movie theater AR, augmented reality game for a new movie release. And the new movie is Ralph Breaks the Internet. And if you haven't seen the trailer, this looks like a delightful movie. It is a Disney sequel for the 2018 Wreck-It Ralph movie. And the Ralph Breaks the Internet is scheduled to be released on the 21st of November. So with this AR game, moviegoers will watch the pre-show presentations, which includes short films and commercials, and they would be followed by an on-screen invitation to participate in the augmented reality game. There's a static screen that shows Wreck-It Ralph, the character from the movie, standing at a counter in the Pancake Milkshake Cafe, and then moviegoers will have had to download the Nuvie Arcade app, which is available on iOS and Android, and then point their smartphones to the image on the screen, which triggers the start of the game. And the game involves tapping virtual buttons on the phone screen to feed pancakes to a bunny or milkshakes to a kitty as fast as possible. The image on the movie's theater screen provides the backdrop to the phone's in-phone gameplay. There's a shared scoreboard that is in the works, not yet available, but for future releases, there will be a shared scoreboard that will be presented on the cinema screen. The game itself lasts only 30 seconds. Afterwards, there's a Ralph Breaks the Internet logo and release date, and there will be a reminder on the movie screen for patrons to turn off their phones, of course, prior to the movie. But there's a trailer for Ralph Breaks the Internet that will include in the show notes that shows Ralph Breaks the Internet playing the actual game, so you can see that. It looks pretty cool and in an innovative way of engaging movie theater audiences
and using AI. That's so cool.
AR, yeah.
Wow. So the one of the best things that happened this week or possibly ever is the new contract for the web. And this is the Clue Train manifesto for our times. Look it up, kiddies, if you don't know what it was. Tim Berners-Lee, who created the first website over 29 years ago, enlisted Facebook, Google, and more than 50 other companies to strip misinformation from the internet and help you keep control of your data. He's calling for governments, businesses, and citizens to work together to protect the open web as a public good and basic right for everyone. He's advocating that everyone should sign the contract for the web, which outlines a series of core principles, much like the Clue Train Manifesto did back in the 90s, promoting privacy protections and securing the internet access for everybody. So the introduction to the contract for the web, which we'll include in the show notes, is the web was designed to bring people together and make knowledge freely available. Everyone has a role to play to ensure the web serves humanity. By committing to the following principles, governments, companies, and citizens around the world can help protect the open web as a public good and a basic right for everyone. And Tom Peters said of the Clue Train Manifesto, "You must read the Clue Train Manifesto. Read it, inhale it. If it pisses you off, that's great." Hopefully this one won't piss anybody off, and companies and people will sign on to it, because clearly we need another way to protect our privacy, and we need another view of how to keep the internet true. It's not true anymore.
Well, very good. Thanks for stealing that one. I had that in the show notes as well. Well, where Tim Berners-Lee wants to reinvent the internet, Bill Gates is getting all scatological on us, and he wants to reinvent toilets. This is from the Gates Foundation. So on November 6th through the 7th, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation had joined global innovators, development banks, corporate partners, sanitation utilities, and governments to host the first Reinvent Toilet Expo in Beijing, which featured product announcements and funding commitments aimed at accelerating the adoption of innovative and pro-poor sanitation technologies throughout the world. Each of these products are designed to kill pathogens that make people sick, transform human waste into valuable resources in a cost-efficient way without connections to water supply or sewer systems. You think about it, in the United States, our sanitation system is all tied up to a massive network of sewers, and a lot of water is involved. That's just not practical in a lot of places where either they don't have the infrastructure to support it or they don't have the water to support it. In 2011, the Water Sanitation and Hygiene Program was initiated to launch the Reinvent the Toilet Challenge in order to generate and support new approaches to toilet technologies to safely and effectively manage human waste. It is aimed at creating a toilet that removes germs from human waste and recovers valuable resources such as energy, clean water, nutrients. It operates off the grid without connections to water, sewer, or electrical lines, costs less than 5 cents per user per day, promotes sustainable and financially profitable sanitation services that can operate in any setting, and is truly an aspirational next generation product that everybody will want to use, including developing nations. So fascinating development there, and one that is sorely needed based on the demands of water, energy, and a whole host of things it can solve. So one thing we'll need to get over is our yuck factor in terms of recycling human waste.
Well, is this all going to be done with chemicals? How is it going to be done?
I'm not exactly sure. I mean, what it is
not
an
using
attempt
water.
to.
It has to use something.
It's an attempt to pose this challenge to all kinds of bodies, engineers, government bodies, whoever, to solve it. So I don't know that the answer has been that this is an attempt to get at it.
It's an interesting pursuit for Bill Gates.
Yeah.
But so I don't use Facebook Messenger because I don't have Facebook on my phone. I never have wanted it there. But Facebook Messenger is soon going to allow you to delete sent messages up to 10 minutes after you originally sent them. So this was spotted by Twitter user Matt Navarra. And the feature is listed as coming soon in the release notes for a version of Messenger's iOS client. Right now, Facebook gives you an hour to delete an erroneous WhatsApp message. But so 10 minutes doesn't give you that much time to correct yourself, but obviously it's better than having no time and have your mistake preserved eternally. So the unsend functionality has been on the card since April, after Facebook admitted it was quietly deleting messages sent by Mark Zuckerberg. The functionality was spotted in October during testing, so it's coming soon. That's just something that you can't believe it wasn't always there, but it wasn't.
So that doesn't prevent the original recipients from seeing the message. It just removes it from the archive. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, good enough. I don't make those mistakes, so doesn't mean I won't in the future, though. So there we go. Speaking of my last topic, poop. Here's another poop-related story. This is from Brian.
Bill Gates is scatological,
yeah,
huh?
Yeah, right. It just so happens we're in poop was in the news this week. Brian Clark of the Next Web posted a tweet that I just have to tell you about. So there is a new video game called Red Dead Redemption 2. By 2, you'll assume correctly that it is a sequel. It's a blockbuster it's a sequel to Red Dead Redemption, which is an open world game set during the tail end of the Wild West era in America. It's published by Rockstar Games, which is known for their attention to detail in the games they create. And Brian Clark has posted a tweet illustrating that detail. I'll read the tweet. It says, some person or team at Rockstar Games worked on the mechanics of horse poop so that you could point it out to your friends. Those people are the heroes we all need. And he included a GIF of a horse in Red Dead Redemption 2 pooping. So we will share that tweet in the show notes so you can see the amazing physics that the engineers, the programmers at Rockstar Games came up with to understand how horses poop in virtual games.
Very important. All's right with the world now, right?
Yes, indeed.
So Chrome has, Google has announced that Chrome's going to crack down on abusive ads. This is from a VentureBeat story by Emil Protolinsky. They're cracking down on abusive experiences that are buttons that are designed to mislead you and trick you into taking actions on the web. So in December, with the release of Chrome 71, the browser's ad blocker is going to cut off revenue for sites that still have these abusive experiences. Google last year joined the Coalition for Better Ads, which offers specific standards on how the industry should improve ads for consumers. And then in February, Chrome started blocking ads, including those owned or served by Google, on websites that display non-compliant ads as defined by the coalition. So when you get to a page, the browser's filter checks if that page belongs to a site that fails the Better Ads standards. If so, the network requests on the page are checked against a list of known ad-related URL patterns, and any matches are blocked, preventing those ads from displaying on the page. Google's strategy is real simple. You use Chrome to cut off ad revenue from the websites that serve non-compliant ads. Programmatic may make that difficult for site owners to control because you don't really control everything that's on your site. So earlier this year, when Chrome released Chrome 64 and then later Chrome 68, Google cracked down on abusive experiences like pop-ups that sent people to unintended destinations. We've all experienced that. Unwanted redirects and unwanted tabs or windows, but abusive ads still get through. And the onus is on the site owner. So if you're a site owner or an administrator, you're supposed to use Google's Search Console's abusive experiences report to check if your site contains abusive experiences that need to be corrected or removed. And if any are found, you have 30 days to fix them before Chrome starts blocking ads on your site. So it's a little bit of major responsibility for site owners, but a move in the right direction.
Yeah. Just have you. It is a move in the right direction. Yeah, definitely. There's way too much deceptive and manipulative advertising that tries to fool you rather than trying to actually deliver some value to you. So yeah, that's a good direction. My stories seem to have some things related. So here's another one. This is The Verge's Patricia Hernandez caught this. She wrote about Red Dead Redemption 2. And so for you non-gamers out there, I need to explain open world games. Rockstar Games kind of pioneered this genre of video games where an open world game is what it sounds like. You enter this video game world and it is a world unto itself, and there are things going on it, and you enter it and become a part of it. It's basically a dynamic world that you enter, and the action of the world around you is filled with programmed non-player characters. So these are not other people who are playing the game. When you play live video games across the internet, these are characters that you're interacting with that have been programmed by the developers of the game. It makes these open world games feel incredibly lifelike, and that's the appeal of them. So Rockstar Games, as I said, is a pioneer of this genre. Their first entry was Grand Theft Auto, which is an organized crime story. Then I've talked about L.A. Noire before, which is a 1930s Hollywood detective story. And now Red Dead Redemption, which is set in the Wild West. So there is a YouTuber named Defend the House who put together a video that is amazing, that follows 3 non-player characters in Red Dead Redemption for a whole day. So he just created a video following these individual characters during an entire day. You can the programs in open world games go over the course of a day, so you see the sunrise and the sunset and everything. But anyway, one person worked in a sheep yard, kept to himself, and clearly did not like to work too hard based on the observations of this YouTuber. Another person was a construction worker, likely unmarried, had an unknown residence, and drank too much. So it showed them going to work and then going to the saloon afterwards. This person took a break at lunch to go to the saloon to drink. After work, went to the saloon to drink, and passed out at a table in the saloon, where he woke up in the morning to go to work again. And then another person was a stable worker, lived in the workers' campground next to the stable, knew other stable hands, interacted with them, and played harmonica. The point of this, though, is that the incredible incredible detail of the story of these non-character players' lives that no one really noticed except this YouTuber. Creates the richness of the world, and it's an incredible storytelling element that that Rockstar Games plays so much attention to the details of these non-player characters' lives that somebody like this could discover it, and that's what makes these games come alive and so enjoyable to play. So it's a storytelling element that I think professional communicators need to pay attention to, because increasingly this is the type of immersive technology and immersive storytelling that we're going to have to do on behalf of clients.
So if you don't watch it for the entire day, you wouldn't know these
You wouldn't
details?
have noticed it. Yeah, not at all.
So they made a smart assumption that somebody was likely to do that, I guess.
Well, no, it's because, I mean, I don't think they figured somebody would do that, although maybe they did, but I think they did it so that the game would be as lifelike as possible.
Can you imagine how long it took to
Right.
code that and,
Right.
you know, come up with all of that? So I don't have any more good news.
I have one more. This is from Barry Schwartz at Search Engine Land, who announces that Google's My Business feature has new features. So Google My Business is the business listing. When you search for a local business, there's the panel on the search results that has the information about the business, shows up in the map results. That's Google My Business. So they have a new feature called for new businesses. So now you can create a business listing in anticipation of your store opening. So if you're a restaurant and you've got a new location, maybe you've got a chain restaurant, you've got locations throughout the city, and you're opening up in a new city, you can create a new business listing prior to that store opening and interact with it, so you can tell people about the progress of your store as it's being completed, and build anticipation for when you have your grand opening. So that's a cool new feature. And then they have a service update. When you update your business information, you'll have the option of entering your address, your service area, or both. And this is important for people such as like ourselves. If we offer, we don't do business at our physical address, but we offer services to people in our local area, then we have that option without having to include our actual physical address, which may be our home, and we don't want online on our business listing. So 2 cool and useful new features.
Those are both very good.
Yep.
So that brings us to not so good news.
It does indeed.
Well, MoviePass, they've turned out, it was such a great idea. In MoviePass, you could pay $9.99 a month, and you could see a movie every single day if you so choose. And all you did was go and check in, and you used your MoviePass card like a credit card, and you got your ticket, and you didn't pay anything for it. How in the world they were staying in business, everybody wondered. And sure enough, they had like all sorts of money issues. And so what they've been doing is they've been changing. They made you take a photo of your ticket stub and send it to them. Then they said you could only see 3 movies a week. Then they started talking about peak pricing, which never actually happened, or at least not to me. And then they told you that even though you had canceled your account, it was now being reinstated, which pissed off an awful lot of people. And then they told me that instead of my unlimited account, now I had a 3 movies a month account. I said, what are you talking about? And now for the second month, you can't see any movie at all. No movies. There's none. And so now they have a live chat, which they never had before. You could never talk to anybody. And I'm quite sure this is robotic, but the chat person said he was human. I didn't believe him. But in the chat, the representative told me to please be patient because this is a temporary inconvenience. Hello, I'm paying to go to the movies and I can't go to the movies. So a lot of people are saying time for a class action suit against these thieves. And then the other night, they sent out an email with a picture of a dog. It was a very cute dog. And underneath the dog's picture, it said, we're listening, we're learning, and we're changing. However, they didn't say what they heard or what they were changing. And that was it. That was all we got. And so since that's the best they can do, I canceled along with tens of thousands of other people. Goodbye, MoviePass. Die, MoviePass. Die.
The continuing rants of BL's
Unbelievable.
continuing rants of MoviePass.
I'm not alone. I mean, there's thousands of people. I made a Twitter moment, and you just see like this is happening to everybody. It says what it says is there are no showtimes available in your area, anywhere, nowhere, no shows, except they had last week something called Inspiria that nobody wants to see. You could go see that. However, it wasn't playing anywhere.
Well, I don't use MoviePass, but I did see a movie, and so I may as well recommend it because it was fantastic. The acting was absolutely amazing. The screenplay was fantastic, and I recommend it to everyone. It is a very powerful, but very depressing movie as well. It's The Hate You Give. It is a must-see. So there you go. There's my movie recommendation. My worst story is from The Verge, James Vincent, who discusses China's state-run press agency, Xinhua, I think is how you pronounce it, has unveiled new artificially intelligent anchors. So these are digital composites created from footage of human hosts that read the news using synthesized voices. It appears they've used human anchors as a base layer, and then they animate parts of the mouth and face to turn the speaker into a virtual puppet. By combining, they use a synthesized voice, and obviously this is far quicker than using traditional CGI and far less expensive than using a human. The article notes that this will strike many, including myself, as a disturbing prospect, especially since it's being done in China, where they are notorious for censoring the press. But, human anchors can at least provide subtle cues to viewers if they want to undermine propaganda. So this is a very efficient way of removing even that eventuality.
And it's a really creepy looking robot or whatever it is.
Right. Well, that's just the infancy of the technology. So when
Right,
the
because we've
technology
talked
advances,
about all of the fake video and voices
yeah,
that you can do. So they could basically put anybody's face on it, which is the really scary part about it,
yeah,
don't you think?
yep.
God. Speaking of movies, I just have to mention one that I saw the other night with Chef Vikas. I hope I can say his name right, Shana, and he is the only Indian chef in the U.S. with a Michelin rating, and he is a polymath that you can't believe. The man's written 34 cookbooks. He's made a movie, and not only did he make a movie, but he did the music for the movie. I mean,
Wow.
there's nothing he can't do. The other night he had a party to show a preview of it, and the film is called The Last Color, and it is a beautiful, emotionally engaging film about love and redemption, and it takes place in India. It's an exquisite thing. I hope you all will get to see it. But I mean, this man can do anything. It's astounding. And the dinner he made for us, holy camole.
Wow.
So
An evening well spent then.
oh my God, was it ever? So, it's not only fake news that we have to worry about. We have to worry about fake stuff in social media, of course, but it's not just political news. In this case, it was a video that, people thought was adorable. And it was a 2.5 minute video of a baby brown bear trying to scale up a really steep snow-covered mountain, and people thought it was a testament to the power of persistence and love. And the video has been viewed more than 23 million times since Friday. And people tweeted that it was life affirming and, it showed the power of persistence. But then some scientists watched the video and they saw it very differently. They saw the work of an irresponsible drone operator who was trying to film the bears and scared them and drove them to the edge of this dangerous cliff. And the cub almost lost its life. And Sophie Gilbert, who's an ecologist at the University of Idaho, who studies, among other things, how drones affect wildlife, said, I found it really hard to watch. And, it was horrifying because the poor little bear, like he would get up, a while, and then he would just slide back down, and it was just awful. So other scientists say that it's really clear that the bears were trying to escape the noise of the drone, and that's the only reason they would ever have been on the edge of that cliff. And like, everybody thinks drones are quiet and stealth-like, but they actually make a lot of noise. So the video shows the mother and the cub walking across the edge of this cliff, and the mother slips a couple times in the loose snow, but she gets to the top, and the cub isn't that fortunate, and he loses his footing, and he tries over and over, and he slips again and again and again, and you think like he's just not going to make it. And finally he slides like basically all the way down the mountain onto an area that's just rocks. There's no snow, and I don't know, somehow he makes it to the top of the mountain, and the drone swoops in for a close-up of the reunion, and the mother is scared enough by the drone that she swipes the poor baby bear, sending him sliding back down the mountain. Now, scientists say the mother was probably trying to save the baby from the drone. So the video was uploaded to Viral Hog's video channel, which I'm not going to link to because they're idiots. And my favorite comment on YouTube was, "I would like to kick the drone operator in the nuts." Throughout the video, the mother's constantly looking up at the drone and is clearly bothered by it. And at some point, the footage zooms in because the drone operator was getting closer. So if that drone operator had a heart or half a brain, he would have backed off when he saw the baby bear struggling. So given the uncertainty, two groups of researchers have now compiled guidelines for using drones, as if you would need those. Both emphasize precaution in cases where it's unclear how a species might react. First, do no harm is the first principle. But, we'll put the video on here because it's part of the story. But, oh, my God.
Well, I think it's good that they put the guidelines together, and the story is probably good to educate people about this, because I can imagine a drone operator coming across some bears and being excited about being able to capture them and not even thinking about the effect that he's having on it, being excited in the moment of photographing it. So it is an important educational thing. I've done video shoots with drone operators. They are loud. They're loud. It is true. So
but you'd have to be an idiot to go back down when the poor thing is trying to climb.
Maybe so, but
you don't know if it died afterwards. You don't know that. You don't know if it was so exhausted that it died.
Yeah.
That was just a jerk.
Okay. Speaking of photos. Are we done with the bad stuff?
I'm done with the bad stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to go on to new, shiny new stuff. I've got there is a Open Culture article by Josh Jones who points out that the Library of Congress has made thousands of photos, posters, and images free to use and reuse, and it's a great collection. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. It includes vintage photos of people and their pets, which are adorable. It has posters that are very cool, and my favorite is a collection of old school football photos. So old school football players with the leather helmets or no helmets, and yeah, it's very cool to look at. So put a link to that in the show notes so people can take a look.
The New York Public Library just put a collection online of 1930s and 40s images. So there's just a wealth of photography available online for free use. It's remarkable. So that brings us to shiny objects.
That was one of them.
That was a shiny object. Okay, yeah. So there is a new extension from Chrome, and they call it the Better Browser Chrome extension, and it's supposed to let you find hidden categories on Netflix. I didn't know there was such a thing, but I wouldn't be adding this to Chrome right now, since that's how the latest Facebook breach apparently happened. But if you're brave and you don't care about your data, there you go.
Yeah, well, it is useful because Netflix does have so much on it. It is through their interface. Their interface is pretty good. But if you've got it on your TV or something, trying to search for stuff is a pain in the ass.
On the TV, you really can't.
Yeah. And the categories, there's so many different categories that it's kind of it's kind of hard to do. But I have a new cool thing and resource, and something that I think we're going to continue to do, because I posted as a blog post on the Beyond Social Media Show blog. It is a review of a podcast, which I think we should give some shouts out to. So we'll have that as a regular feature of the show. This one is Copy Blogger FM. I've known about Copy Blogger as the blog for a long time. I knew that they had a podcast, and I just got around to start listening to it, and it is wonderful. It's a weekly 15, 25-minute podcast hosted by Sonia Simone, who has the soothingest, most national public radio sounding voice ever. Every week she discusses various aspects of copywriting as it pertains to marketing, content marketing, email marketing, search engine optimization, conversion optimization. There's lots of good stuff there. I would point out, however, that several episodes that I listened to, they used kind of the first 4 minutes of the podcast or so to start to sell their courses and training, and I'm sure they're wonderful and everything, but there's a lot of selling involved up front. So, but beyond that, the content's really great. I have a review of it in the show that will link to it from the show notes, and expect more podcast shout outs in the future.
Yeah, I'm really glad you did that. We talked about that a few weeks ago, and I'm glad you started it. That's very cool. So I found this is great. It's called PDF Candy, and it combines a whole bunch of PDF tools all in one place, and all the functions that it has are free, and you don't even have to sign into PDF Candy. So here's what some of the things are that it does. You can convert a PDF to Word, a JPEG, a DOC, a RTF, a TIFF, BMP, a PNG, and you can convert all those files and more into PDFs. Then this is the really cool part. You can rotate the PDF. You know how sometimes they're sideways. It's so annoying. You can resize the pages. You can crop the PDF. You can compress it. You can merge multiple PDFs. You can delete pages. You can rearrange pages. You can unlock or password protect a PDF. You can extract images and text and metadata.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's very cool. And it's free.
Sounds like Acrobat.
Yeah, but it's free.
All right. Is that it?
That's all I got.
All right, so let's wrap this up. This is daily numbers for how job candidates evaluate employer brands. This is from MRI Network. I have been working on a project where we're shooting videos to attract talent for a company, and so this is of interest to me. And we'll take a look at how people find out about employers, and this is some data on that. Employee referrals leads the list with 59%. Company website, 56%. So think about that, how people looking for a job or thinking about working for a company, they find out about the company some way, if it's a employee referral or a friend referral, and the most likely thing they're going to do first is go to that website to check out the company's website. So that's part of your employer branding. Glassdoor or similar sites was cited by 38%. Glassdoor is increasingly becoming an aspect of employer branding. Employee testimonials, 28%. Media coverage, 24%. Company career site, 21%. Social media is only 19%. Marketing materials, 10%. How that's defined, I'm not exactly sure. So there you go. We'll put the chart in the show notes so you can see it at beyondsocialmediashow.com/248.
That's it, right? Oh, you have a political one.
I do not.
Oh, I thought you did. Okay. Okay, then that brings us to the end of episode 248. And Dave, we have 250 coming up in just 2 episodes.
That's right.
Amazing. We got to do something special. So the Beyond Social Media Show is found at beyondsocialmediashow.com, where we post the video replay and the links to everything we talk about. On YouTube, we're Beyond Social Media Show. We're on Twitter as BS Media Show. We are on iTunes. We are on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Google Home. And we hope that you will go to iTunes and subscribe to the show and leave us a review. That would be so great if you would do that. David Erickson is on Twitter as D. Erickson. He's on Instagram as DE Erickson. and he blogs at estrategyblog.com. I'm BL Ochman. I'm on Twitter as What's Next. I blog at What's Next Blog. I'm on YouTube as What's Next Blog. And I'm on LinkedIn, and my website is blochman.com. And we will be back next week on a day we'll let you know about.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks.